All right, well, I want to go ahead and introduce our speaker, and let me tell you all about Laura. So she has been teaching English for nearly 35 years at the University of Oregon. She teaches English language and teacher education in the American English Institute and the Department of Linguistics. She's also an external reviewer and works annually with teachers of IPNA, Chiclayo, and Peru, which is the binational center, similar to Centro Cultural, but in Peru. And she has published numerous articles on language teaching, on mentoring and classroom observation, and also co-authored the teacher training guidebook called Shaping the Way We Teach English from Observation to Action. So she's presented teacher training workshops all across the world, United States, Canada, Peru, Mexico, Cambodia, and as I said before, many times here with Centro Cultural, the National Conference for Teachers of English, and our PD Talks. And today she's going to speak to us with a presentation called Let's Talk About Homework to Promote Speaking and Listening Skills. So please help me welcome Laura Holland with a warm virtual applause, thumbs up, or waving of the hands. So go ahead, Laura. It's all yours.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to mess around. Oh, it's still optimized. Look at that. All right. I'm going to make my screen. Can you see? Oops. Can you see my slideshow?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, great. So thank you, Mark, for that lovely introduction. And let's just jump right in because I have a very full day planned for us today. Now, I'm going to say, as Mark said, I've done a whole bunch of presentations and I do a lot of presentations. I actually retired from the university and I've been almost busier than I ever expected. So much for, going for long walks every day. And actually, I do still do that, but I'm really busy working with groups like this. And sometimes I repeat, I get to use my same presentations in different places, but this is a absolutely hot off the presses, brand new presentation that I literally was just making corrections on this morning still. So it's very fresh. It's not tested out with an audience yet. So I'm going to ask for, number one, of course, your patience, but number two, also your feedback, because your responses to things are going to help me tweak it and make it a little bit better for the, for the next time I do this, for the next conference that I do it in. So let's jump in. So introduction and rationale. Oh, I do want to say too, please feel free to use the chat a lot during this session. I know we don't normally try to promote multitasking, but the chat function somehow, even for this old crazy brain, works. I can somehow do both talking and reading and pulling in, and it's gotten kind of fun. That's one of the things about Zoom I didn't expect Zoom teaching is this sort of side conversation that goes on in the chat. It's I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of liking the dynamic of it. So please feel free to go ahead. I may not see all your questions right away, but there will be time at the end. We will have some time for breakout room and we will also have time for questions at the end. So let me give you my rationale and the introduction. So except I have to move. I like to watch everybody because it helps to see people. It's a little bit weird to just talk to a camera, but then it blocks my words. So let's try to do it this way. All right. When it comes to homework for speaking listening classes, unfortunately, too often our practices kind of favor the reading writing skills. So, and even for myself, it's a change I had to really think about every single time and think, is this homework assignment really making the best possibilities for listening and speaking practice for my students, right? Think about how many times we ask them to listen to something and then write a paragraph, write a sentence, do that. Why aren't we asking them to do things that actually promote their speaking and their listening, right, for homework? So I'm going to share a whole bunch of ideas that I've tried today. And students consistently report that they need more practice with listening and speaking, both in and out of class. And so today I'm going to share some of the ideas that I've been experimenting with, especially in online classes since all this began, and some ideas that my students really, really enjoyed, because I want you to try them out with your students too. They were so fun and my students just really thrived with them. So I want to share them with you. Most of the examples come from my online class, although many of them are things that I had done in my face-to-face classes and then I adapted to online. And then this one particular class I had last spring was very unusual because of the pandemic and because of everything shutting down. Our program got really small. There were other reasons too, but especially due to the pandemic. And suddenly last spring, we only had enough students to offer one course of every topic. So one grammar course, one reading, writing course, one speaking, listening course. And each one of those had all the students of all the levels in them. So I was the speaking, listening teacher, and I had levels 3 through 7. It was actually supposed to be 2 through 7, but the level 2 student tested into level 3. So this was, when I first got this, I thought, okay, how on earth am I going to do this? But it actually turned out to be one of the coolest sessions I ever taught, one of the coolest courses I ever taught. It was really wonderful. So then later, again, during breakout rooms, what I'm going to ask you to do is take some of the ideas that I'm sharing with you right now and brainstorm with your group other options, okay? And we'll have those instructions for you later as well. And then there will be time for takeaways and question and answer at the end. Okay, hold on, I have to move this. And then, the last thing though that I wanted to say, and this is kind of the impetus, the inspiration for this whole workshop, was that on the last day and the last video assignment that I gave in the spring term, more than 75% of my class said some version of, "Oh, I'm so sad. This is my last homework assignment." And when the first person said it, I thought, okay, well, she's really, really a dedicated student, really highly motivated. And then the second one's like, well, he's a really highly motivated student too. But then it was person after person after person saying, I love these homework assignments. These were so great. And so when I heard that, I'm so sad, this is my last homework assignment, I was thinking, okay, when has any teacher on the planet in the history of the world ever heard those words before? I know I had never, ever heard this. Oh, thank you, teacher. These were awesome homework assignments. So they were great. So I tried to choose the ones that I thought were most successful and to share them with you. Let's go. So I'm going to just spend a couple of minutes giving you the context. So we're going to look at following examples, and what I want you to do is think and talk about, this doesn't, okay, I don't know why this isn't working. Got to use this button. There we go. The content of the homework. So the what, right? Is it, are we talking about be questions, or are we talking about past tense or whatever? The content of the homework. And then specifically, I want you to think about, as we're going through the examples, what is achieved with this assignment? Meaning, how does it help you meet your course objectives? And how does it help meet mine, right? What's achieved in the way I assign it? So not only the what, but the how, okay? And other objectives, what are other things? Because I'm trying to accomplish many different things in these video assignments that you will see. And I want us to brainstorm together. And rather than me telling you, do this, do this, do this, it does this and this, we'll do some discovery learning about it and discovery exploration together. And then I really want you to be thinking also in the back of your mind or in the front of your mind, how can you adapt these to your teaching context? Because I'm going to show you some things and you're going to say, oh, well, I can't do that. I don't have this platform, or I don't have that tool. So what I want you to be thinking about is, how can you take the idea and then transform it to work for your setting? So just a quick overview of some of the possibilities, and then how this compares to your setting. So I have to move us again. Grammar, for example. You know, rather, we can often, I think a flipped learning model works very, very well for teaching grammar. So, or discovery learning. So for example, instead of starting to introduce a new grammar point in class and taking it through and showing the grammar box and do this and this and this and this, and then exercise A, exercise B, exercise C, instead, we flip it and have them do the read that grammar box and whatever it is, whatever grammar point you're using, read it at home, because some of our students are going to get it on the first time, like we know in class, but most of the students, like me, like the kind of student I am, I'm going to need more time. I need time to process and digest a little bit. So for me, it's really useful to be able to encounter this for the first time at home when I'm calm, there aren't other distractions. I'm just, I can calm my brain down and learn in the way that I learn best. And I can read it 3 times or 5 times if I need to, and then go back and then do the exercises. Or I got one part of it, but not another, so I can go back. So this is when a flipped learning model really comes in very handy. Other possibilities that I use for my homework assignments is that we can re-listen to something that we did that day in class. And then I can post the same video again, or the same listening, or whatever the material is, on my course website. And then they can listen as many times as they need to be able to do the homework. Or I can have them pre-listening to something. So maybe we're going to have a discussion about some controversial topic, like cell phone use for children 13 and under. And then I can have a little listening that they listen to together ahead of time. That they listen to alone ahead of time, and then the next day in class we talk about it. And so it activates their schemata, right? It activates their background knowledge and gives them, and I can give them questions that help prepare them and guide them so that they have a very successful experience in their discussion in class. And I do a lot with agree and disagree. Extensive listening program. So I know a lot of people do a lot of extensive reading, and this is, I think, just as important or more. So what is extensive listening? If you haven't used this yet, I highly encourage you. Extensive listening is that the students choose what they're going to listen to or read if it's reading, but here for listening. So I tell them, and you'll hear this, find a TV show or a podcast or a news program or blah, 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 whatever it is you like. And then, just make some notes. And then I have them making videos about that, which you will see in a minute. We also use it for preparation for speeches, the non-impromptu ones. The impromptu ones, they don't get to prepare for because that's the whole idea. So, but these are ones, the prepared talks. And I do a lot with follow-up questions. So whenever anybody's giving a presentation, everybody in the class has a job to do. So they have to think of a follow-up question, which means they have to listen really carefully. And then they never know who I'm going to call on. And then they get points for giving their presentation, but also points for their follow-up questions. So just super quickly, there's going to be a lot of language on these slides, and this is because it's kind of my my handout to give you a context of that I'm preparing for. So this is from my course description. We're going to do daily classroom discussions and academic on academic and general topics. Listening to academic lectures and discussions, storytelling, impromptu speaking, brief prepared presentations, and basically all listening skills, right? So those are all the things that are in my course description. So this is what's informing my planning and my design so that I can meet these objectives. And this is also from my course description, the student and everybody in my department. Whenever you're teaching a listening speaking class, these are them. I adapt a few of my own, but mainly this is what everybody does. So by the end of the class, you will be able to do everything on the list, okay? And it's, using the appropriate grammar and the various vocabulary, speaking extemporaneously. I don't know what happened here, sorry. Reporting on main ideas and identifying the main topic. Okay, so these are the student learning outcomes that I am basing on. And then grading what does this mean for my planning? So this is what we're all having to work with. Listening and note taking is 30% of their grade, speeches and academic discussions 30%, assignments including the listening logs 20%, and presentations 20%. So this is just my guidelines that I am working towards. So these are the outcomes basically. And now I have to plan, what am I going to do to make those effective? So a question we can ask ourselves, are 1 to 2 minute videos enough to give effective feedback? And what I mean, I'm going to be showing you the videos I make for the students, but then they have to make me a 1 to 2 minute video back again. And I do this 2 to 3 times a week. I have them making me 1 to 2 minute videos. And I've had some interns and I've had some other teachers say, don't you think that's too many videos to be asking them to make? And my reply back is, do we ever think twice about asking them to write a paragraph for every single thing that they do? No, we do not. So we need to give listening and speaking that same importance. Students report all the time that they need more and more and more of it. So my answer to this question, are 1 to 2 minute videos enough to give effective feedback? Yes, sí, claro, okay? 1 to 2 minutes is really manageable for the students. And it gives me plenty of language to work with without becoming overwhelming, right? Because that's the other thing, is we're unbelievably busy as teachers all the time, overworked, underpaid, everything. We all know that. So we want to be the best we can be without killing ourselves in the process. And my course website, we use Canvas at my university, but we used to use Blackboard and we've used some others. And our course website has a tool called SpeedGrader, and I love that because it allows me to be listening to the video and typing in the SpeedGrader function at the same time. But I haven't always had that tool. So if you don't have some tool like that, I used to just do it on a Word doc. So I'd be listening and either writing handwritten notes or putting it on a Word doc. Word doc is faster, obviously, because then I don't have to transfer it for that. I can send the Word doc directly to my students. And the assignments that I'm going to share all encouraged just incredibly creative and unique responses, so that I found I loved grading homework. And that's another thing, teachers, when have you ever heard a teacher say, I loved grading this homework, it was so cool? Because they got incredibly creative. So let's jump in now, finally. So here's what I want you to do. What I'm doing is these are the videos I took from my course website, and I'm going to share, I have a number of different examples to share with you. And what I want you to be thinking about is, what am I accomplishing with this video? And just try to note as many areas as you can. And some of it's going to be, again, remember, about the content, but some of it is going to be about other aspects of classroom teaching. So just brainstorm a little bit about what you think is going on in terms of both motivation, affect, and all of that. So here. Hi, everybody. All right, welcome to Speaking Listening. Whether you are in level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, or level 7, we are all in the same group together. We also have 4 interns who some of you met on Thursday, and you will get to meet again on Monday. Here's your homework. Please choose something to listen to or to watch this weekend before Monday. Okay, it can be anything, but please make it something that is a little bit challenging for you. Maybe a TED Talk or a news program or a podcast or a song or a movie, a TV show, an audiobook, really anything at all. Just listen and watch something, or read it, but listen. And then be ready to talk in class, in a group, in a small group, and tell your partners, 1, what was it about? So what was the main idea? Give a summary, a little summary in English. What was especially interesting to you? Give 3 details. So you will tell us what you watched, tell us a little bit about it, and then 3 interesting things that you learned in there. 3 details. Okay? And then I'm also going to send you in a different email your course description for your level. I will post them on Canvas, which I am just about to open now because everybody is now registered. So email me with any questions. See you Monday. All right. So go ahead and in the chat, what are some of the things that I have accomplished or I hoped to accomplish with this video? Let's see. Building community. Oh, Luis. Oh my gosh, you got right to one of the first ones right off the bat. That I have a whole presentation about community building. I'm not going to go off on that tangent now, but oh my gosh, languages are learned in communities, right? So we need to turn our language classrooms into language communities. So yes, in every one of my videos, building community is definitely a big highlight of mine. Thank you. Student accountability. Awesome. Yes, exactly, Aida. Okay, so student accountability, right? I started off the first assignment was their extensive listening. Now they're not adding to the log, they're only preparing to talk about it in class. But then from then on, the whole rest of the term, they made videos about them at least once a week. Exactly. Listening and writing skills, helping the students have a positive reaction to the upcoming assignment. Thanks. I try to be friendly. I try to be really warm and engaging and also to take the fear out of it because I don't want them to be afraid. Making the activity appealing, relatability, speaking skills, very clear instructions. All right. Paragraph development, yes. Okay, oh my gosh, you guys are rocking it. Woohoo! All right, keep on going. I'm going to move on only because I have way too much planned for today and I want to make sure I get them all to you. But keep putting them in the chat. The other thing is we're going to see if there's a way that we can save the chat at the end because I find the chat is super useful for giving you ideas. All right, now, oops, we don't, that's it. So then the other thing is that for every video that I give, I also give written visual support. Now I know I've gone back and forth on this over the years. Again, I've been teaching for a long time and I've been through many phases of what are best practices so that I realize I understand that there's no such thing exactly as best practices because it's completely context driven, who your students are, what sort of situation, what are the objectives, blah, blah, blah. So it changes. But some of things that are best practices, people in the past used to say, oh no, if you're going to have listening, don't give them the written, just give them the audio and it will force them to do it. Well, you know what? I tried that for a while and I don't think it really works all that well. I think that having the visual support is really useful, especially for some students. And as we learn how to differentiate for all the individuals that are in our group classes, it's helpful, I have found. So I really like to have visual support. And I know for me as a student, I really want to. Plus it becomes another opportunity. Think about this. Having the visual support allows them to read and listen, and especially in English with our crazy kooky spelling, it allows us to help the students make the mismatch between what they are hearing and what they are reading on the page. So it's actually a really useful tool. I highly recommend it. Let's see. Yeah, Lee, exactly. Less overwhelming. And Lee was is an intern in my class a few years ago. And so she got to see that firsthand of how students could just really calm down in the best way. And this is what it's looked like. This is what this assignment looked like on my Canvas site. So just to quickly show you. All right, example number 2. So then I gave guided instructions also. Now, in the beginning, there were some administrative problems. We had students all over the world and some were coming in the middle of the night that like all of our Chinese and Japanese students were taking our classes in the middle of the night. So I will say they were tired, but highly motivated. And so it was very interesting. So, but this was now guided instructions for posting their own videos. and preparation for the upcoming video in class, I took a lecture from our textbook about same and different. So then this was just kind of a pre-assignment to get them thinking about the idea and the topic of same and different. And our in-class work was to listen to the lecture from the textbook. So this was just preparation.
Hi, everybody. It's a beautiful day here in Eugene. As you can see, I am outside enjoying the beautiful afternoon. Here's your homework for Tuesday. I want you to make a 1-minute video on Canvas. Okay, if you've been my student before, you know the 1-minute videos. I find them very useful and to see what areas you need to work on. So make me a 1-minute video, and the theme is same, different. So you're going to compare things. What is something that is the same and different? And it could be anything. So you can talk about you. How are you the same or different as you were 1 year ago, for example? Or when you from the same or different from when you were a child. How are you the same and how are you different? I want you to talk about both in any whatever your topic. Or how are you the same or different as your brother or sister or your parents or your children? It can also be, it doesn't have to be about you. It could be about your town or the city that you live in or cultural expectations or the climate or whatever is really interesting for you. Your job is to make it interesting. Talk for 1 minute. Please don't write and read, only speak. Okay, that's what these videos are for, only speaking. Please don't read to me. This is not a reading class. All right, and I will describe this in class tomorrow, so if you have any questions, you can ask me them. And post your video on Canvas, please. See you tomorrow.
Okay, so that was introducing that assignment. So what are some things, what I achieved, I set up everything I told you, but what else might they have learned from this video assignment or gotten out of it? What are some things that they could get from this video? And thank you for your comments too. Yeah, that you believe visual support is also self-confidence, that that they can, I hope that they can sort of just learn about what the expectation is. I'm talking about that I want them to talk to me. It encourages creativity. Yeah, good. Anything else? Reminding students of the speaking focus and avoiding reading. Absolutely. Time control. Good. Boosts practice. Absolutely. Thanks, Jonathan. Practice comparatives. Yes. Awesome. Exactly. Comparing things. Oh, you both had the same idea at the same time. And also, just little side things, following simple instructions. Awesome. Don't be afraid of speaking. Good, exactly. How do we learn to speak? By speaking, right? So exactly. Now, there's another little piece of it, but I think super important actually. Where was I? Was I in my office like I am here now in my Zoom room? No, I was outside, right? And I'm wearing different clothes. I'm outside. It was springtime, right? But it was early spring. It was actually late winter still, or maybe just spring had just started. And so then there was expressions about, there was vocabulary and expressions about the weather, right? And things like that. And yes, Brenda, using present and past tenses, exactly. And they didn't have the chance, I love this point, Christine, that they didn't have the chance to translate from their first one, L1 to L2. Nice idea, exactly. All right, so you get the idea. You can keep posting more ideas about this, but in the videos, I like to include conversational things. And one thing too, that I will just say straight out is that it provides models of intonation, pronunciation in action, in authentic language kinds of things. Now, authentic because I'm actually genuinely speaking to my students, right? So I know it's kind of for the classroom, which makes the authentic idea a little bit funny, but it is a genuine communication that I'm creating to give to them. And then of course in class they have the chance to ask me questions as well. All right, here's another one. Example 3. So now here I very formally introduce the listening log assignment, more formally, more detail this time. And so have a look and see what other sorts of information that I'm using and what else you notice. And you can put your answers in the chat.
Hi, everybody. Okay, here is your homework for Thursday. Please prepare 2 or 3 discussion questions to use in your group. And remember that a discussion question is one that starts a discussion, so not informal conversation, but a discussion on an important topic. Then also please start a listening log. So that's just a little notebook or diary or a place you keep your notes. It can be a file on your computer. What did you watch or listen to that day? I want you to listen to something in English every single day and then just keep a note of what you did. Just what did you listen to? And you don't even have to note too much about it. Sometimes I will ask you to talk more about it. Just add to it every single day. And then for Thursday, please listen to anything. Again, a newscast or a TV show, a news report, a song, a movie, anything in English, and make a 1-minute video about why you liked it or didn't like it and what it was about. And that's it.
Okay, so that was the more formal one where I'm introducing and asking them to make the videos. So the first time, remember, we just did it where all they did was just prepare to talk about it in class, but then for the rest of the term, they made a video at least once a week and sometimes even twice a week. Oops. Okay, now we'll do just a quick little boom chat is my new way of calling this, just because chat bomb sounds a little violent. And go ahead, or you could use chat cascade. Just a quick parenthesis about the term chat bomb. I think I use that sometimes. I think it can be fun and funny, but I have to be careful about who are the students, who are the people that I'm working with, because if I'm working with groups who have either come from war zones or have had traumatic experiences with bombs or whatever, then I tend to use something else. So when we were working with the FLTAs this summer, we used chat cascade, which is like a waterfall instead of chat bomb. But then last night I came across this image, boom chat, which I sort of like too. So go ahead and add any thoughts into the chat. And we will share a little bit. Let's see, I have some more notes here. Why do I make, I'm constantly moving everybody around. Sorry for all the clicking. Why do I make videos for my students when I'm also writing out the instructions? Okay, we already talked about that a little bit, but if you joined later. What do I achieve by doing this? And you can write your, I said like a boom chat, but go ahead and just put them in now. It's fine. Put them in anytime. So chat waterfall. Yeah, exactly. It's a nice idea, right? It helps for reflexive and critical thinking. Yes, exactly. And I'm approaching different learning styles. Absolutely. Because I know I learn really differently from a lot of other people, and I see it with my students. And so we have to really try to think. I think a mistake that some of us make sometimes is we're teaching to either extreme, either the students who are really getting it and successful, or the students who are really struggling. And what we really have to do is try to find things that work for all the different people, all the individuals. Clarifying, addressing all kinds of students. Yep. It's more interactive. Good. Let's see. Yes. Your Japanese students were Buddhists. Yeah, exactly. So, thanks, Lynn. Yeah, exactly. I definitely would not use chat bomb with a group of Buddhists. And I think I kind of like the idea of boom chat or something else. And this one still has the bomb idea in it, but I think there are other ways we can do this. Appealing to learners' interests and giving them choices. Yes. Okay, there you go. So exactly, we're adding a huge element of student agency here. And then Sergio says instructions are clearer if given in more than one way. Yes, exactly. Okay, you allow them to practice different skills at the same time. Oh, you guys, you are all on it. Exactly. Okay, so keep on going. You're welcome to keep on adding more. I'm going to just move on, though, to my next example. So this was the assignment I gave to prepare them. So this was before they gave their first prepared talk, their first presentation. And I know in my previous classes in face-to-face, people were having heart attacks before this. They were just so scared and so nervous about it. So I try to find lots of different ways to make it less scary. And this one seemed to work very well.
Hi, everybody. Here is your homework for Thursday, and it's going to be a little bit different, so read and listen carefully. I'm going to ask you to prepare a 1 to 2 minute talk, not a video this time, a talk that you are going to give in class. Now, I know this will make some of you nervous. Just do your best. If you're in level 3, do level 3 work. If you're in level 5, do level 5 work, okay? I'm not comparing you to each other, only to yourselves. So prepare a 1 to 2 minute talk to give in class on Thursday. Bring a picture, one picture to help guide it. If you can turn on your camera and show it to us or share the screen, that will be great. But if not, you can send me the picture on chat or an email if you send it by Wednesday. But I need it Wednesday afternoon if you're going to send it to me by email. Do not send it to me Thursday morning. I won't get it because I'll be in class early. You can use a few notes, just a few words, but please don't read. This isn't reading class. This is not reading a speech. This is speaking, right? So this is just to practice your speaking. Just do the best you can, and here are the topics you can choose. Choose one of these. Either use the past tense and talk about a great trip that you took sometime. Some of you have already done this for me in another class. Or you can use conditionals or future and talk about what do you want to do if and when the pandemic is over? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What are you going to do? Okay, so that's your talk. Just talk for 1 minute or up to 2 minutes, no more. And we'll just see how your speaking is going. And use a picture to help guide your talk. That's it.
Okay, so then,
hi everybody.
Now we don't need to hear it again. Okay, so I will say that this was the best success I've had in, I don't know, more than 35 years of people not being too nervous. They actually said that they had a really good time with these presentations and they rocked them. Oh my gosh, they were so good. And everybody had such a great time and they were so sweet. So, like the level 7 students were so encouraging and so sweet to the level 3 and level 4 students. And they all had good follow-up questions and it was really awesome. So yes, Lee, I definitely try. Part of my goal, my objective is to lower the affective filters, to just lower their resistance and their fear as much as possible. And Jonathan too, you talked about that also. Thank you. And yeah, the pictures, having a picture, I started doing that a few years ago. That is the best thing. They can use a picture, but no notes. They just use the picture to talk. And it really helps them just talk. And then the other thing is really just critically important I say this on the first day, and then I say it regularly throughout the class, is they are not in competition with each other, ever. Even if it's the same level. but especially not in a level 3 through 7 class. But even if it's all level 3, they are not in competition with each other. On the first day, I always say things like, oh, we, some of you come in and grammar is your skill, your strength, right? But maybe speaking is harder for you, or some of you can speak, but writing is really, really it's a real struggle for you. You all have different strengths and different areas that you need to improve on. I am not comparing you to each other. You are not in competition with each other. You are only in competition with yourself. So you need to be better than you were last week. That's all I'm going to ask of you. Be better. And I also tell them their job is to make lots of mistakes. My job is to make good opportunities for them. Their job is to make a million mistakes. And I say this on day 1 every time. And then they kind of look at each other and it's like, oh, really? Making mistakes is my job? And it's like, yes. And then learn from those mistakes and then make new mistakes next week. So that's how you're going to jump forward in your language learning process. Yeah, exactly, Jonathan. I love this idea that we always used a pen, right? And we are so focused on reading and writing. And this is a way to really promote speaking. So I think it's just super important. And yeah, I give them different options of different topics always, because they're going to do better if they talk about something that they are really passionate about or interesting. And I have some fabulous examples later. So yeah, what else do I accomplish here? We've already talked about that. So here comes number 5, and I'm going to, oops. Hi again, everybody. Long time no see. You just left class a moment ago. All right, here is your homework for Monday. 2 things I want you to do. Oops, 2. And I know it's a video, and another video, which is my best way of collecting good samples for you for your homework. But if it's a problem, we can work together to see if you can find other ways to send me the videos. If Canvas is not working with your bandwidth or your system. Okay, so you're going to make one video, but it has 2 parts to it. So the first part will be that I want you to think about somebody who you might like to mentor or to help support. We've been talking all about supporting people this week, and Mr. Jensen really helped mentor and support and change Clint's life, the drummer, right? Wow. Very inspiring story. And I know many of you have inspiring stories like that too. Or who would you like to mentor you? So, for example, oh, I really want to learn how to bend the ball the football when I'm kicking it, just like David Beckham, right? So I would love it if David Beckham could teach me how to bend the ball so that it goes whoosh into the goal. All right, so that's the first part. And then the second part is just short. Teach me how to say something beautiful in your language. Tell it to me in your language so I can hear you saying it, and then tell me more or less what it means in English so that I can really practice and learn something from your language. I want to learn something from you. You teach me for this part 2. And then I just quickly want to say, not homework, but just to talk about your tests today. I'm really proud of you. You have all been working really hard every day, and you're putting the pieces together. You put the pieces together just perfectly, beautifully. So I will give you a couple little suggestions when I go to put the grades in, but the grades are 50 out of 50 for everybody. You got an individual score and a group score, and you all did so well. Have a wonderful weekend, my friends. Stay safe, take care, wear a mask, wash your hands. We love you. That was how I stole that from a late night political comic who's on Seth Meyers, who's on our TV. He's been doing that through the whole pandemic. And we adopted that for our class. So we ended every class with stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask. We love you. which was very sweet because then by the end of the class, I'm getting teary just thinking about it. At the end of the class, everybody was like doing all the gestures, and that's how we would end class many days. It was super sweet. Yes, okay, thanks, Aida. This was magical, just magical. Please, please, please steal it. Now, I work with people who speak different languages as me, so you're probably working with people who speak the same language as you, or you might be. So, but figure out a way you could adapt that, or figure out ways to have them teach you something. Maybe it's about their career, or maybe it's something about their family. But we want to find ways for our students to be the experts, and then also, and to teach us something, because then it also allows us to model what it's like to be a learner, and a good learner, right? So in this one, we were supporting the mentoring and supporting people, and then teach me something beautiful in your language, so that you got all that. Okay, let me just quickly, you're already doing the chat. Yeah, Lynn, great. She does that. Lynn does this with idioms. Fantastic. Idioms are one of my favorites. I often say, teach me how to say good morning, or teach me how to say good morning in another language, because a lot of our students have other languages. Or maybe you have students who speak an indigenous language like Quechua or something like that. So have them teach you something in one of the indigenous languages, which will, sort of bring that into the forefront, allow them to be the expert, give respect to other languages and the other parts of their cultural life. So really, really cool. Let's see. Or we can ask them to teach us something they know how to do well. Exactly, Rosa. And validating their identity is so key. It's so, when we start doing that as teachers, we get really in there, and then our students open up their hearts, and when their hearts are open, their minds will be open, and they will start learning. It's really, yeah, and I love to show them love and respect. And what I find is I get nothing but love and respect from 99% of my students. I have had very few problems over the years, even with students who other teachers have said, oh, this student's a terrible student. And I'm like, well, I'm going to decide that for myself. Okay. So we'll see what happens. All right. So you've already been talking about this. But think about what you might steal, okay? Which ideas of these are you going to steal and use yourself? Okay, oh, here comes one of my favorites. So this one was so fun. This is something I've done with my face-to-face classes. I've done this for years, but then I adapted this for the online class. Now, we've also did this later as a group discussion, but I decided to have them prepare. This was another one of I had to come up with different ideas for their presentation grades. So this was one of their formal presentations. Create your own holiday. So here we go. Let's play this. Oh, and these are just the guiding instructions. Don't worry about reading all that print.
Hello, everybody. All right, here is your homework for Monday. Yes, Monday. We're going to do something a little bit different this time, something we have never done in this class before. You are going to create your own holiday in your imagination, using your imagination. So here's my introduction. There are many beautiful holidays around the world. Ramadan is being celebrated right now by Muslims all over the globe. There's Spring Festival. I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I think I will say it wrong. Chunje, maybe? But that's celebrated in China and I think in Korea, maybe. Spring Festival, that is the Persian version of that, the Persian holiday, also called Nowruz. There's Diwali, which is a Buddhist holiday, Sukkot, which is a Jewish festival, harvest festival, Vesak, which is a celebrates Buddha's birthday, I believe, Valentine's Day, and thousands more, of course. Some holidays are religious and full of prayer. Some are secular. Okay, you can look those words up. They're really good words for you to know. Some of them are very joyous and some are somber. Okay, look those words up too. So what is your assignment? I want you to think of your own holiday, create one. Don't tell me about a real holiday. Make up your own, create one. And use your imagination. Prepare a 2-minute, 1 or 2 minute talk about it. And here are some of your guiding questions. When is it? Okay, what's the date or the dates? What month is it in? How do you celebrate it? What is the significance of it? Why is it important or special? Are there any special foods? How long does it last? What activities do you do? And then anything else that you would like to tell us all about it. And I want you to have some fun with this. Get creative and show us your creativity. Now, you also need to create at least one slide or picture, either way, to share to help guide your talk. So I will show you an example. I will post here an example of a picture that I have. My holiday, for example, is Wildflower Celebration Day. So for me, the wildflowers always bloom in the fields and in the mountains right at my most busy time in the spring for work. So I would like to have one day off, or maybe no, let's make it 3 days off so I could travel to some of the really good places to see wildflowers out either in the fields or in the mountains or near the coast or anywhere. And special foods, we will bring a picnic in a basket. Anybody can bring whatever kinds of foods they want to share. Lots of fresh things though, fresh vegetables and fruits because it's springtime. And you can go out with your family or with your friends and you don't have any work. You can bring some music with you and maybe dance in the fields. You can bring your dog if you have one. I would leave your cats at home. Okay, so that's my holiday. What do? We walk and we hike. We also go stand in the middle of fields and just listen. We don't talk. What's another activity? We sit down in the fields with the flowers and we take pictures. Okay, so you get the idea. Create it yourself. Don't tell me about a holiday that's real. Make up a new one. All right, that's it.
Okay, so let's see. Thanks, Aida. This was really fun, and they came up with just the most creative and clever ideas. I mean, when we give our students really inspiring and fun activities to do, they will rise to the occasion and just give you back something that's so inspiring it makes you want to do more. So I was finding throughout this whole term that each assignment I was giving to them was giving me back so much that ideas were just going pop, 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 pop in my brain because it was so fun. There were so many cool things. And you'll see in a minute that that I also get suggestions from them. I always ask them for some suggestions. Oops.
Hello, everybody.
That's the same one. Okay. All right. Now, here was another extensive listening log. This is a little bit later in the term, I think in the second half of the term, but I switched up the product part a little bit just to kind of challenge that. So here you go.
Hello, everybody. Okay, it's Sunday and it's Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day if you are celebrating that with somebody that you love, or if you are a mother. Here is your homework for Tuesday. I'm doing something a little bit different again this time. Here's what I want you to do. Watch or listen to something challenging, as usual, podcast, movie, song, TV show. You're choosing really great things that you're putting in your videos. So keep doing that. That's you. I have no corrections for that. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a video, but this time tell me about it in 3 great sentences. You can write them down, you can practice and make them really great, and then try to say them but speak them. Don't read them. Don't read them. But you can write them out first to make them really great. So make each word and sentence count, okay? You only have 3 sentences to tell me about what you watched. It's kind of challenging, actually. It's different. So it will be hard, I think. But do your best. And I'm just pushing you now because it's the second part of the term. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great day.
Okay. So that was really fun and that was hard. And a couple of people did, use 4 or 5 sentences, but mostly everybody tried to do it with 3. And they said it was really challenging and it was really hard, but really worthwhile. Why? Because it really helped them learn, like just kind of shaving things down and changing and adapting their sentences to be really succinct. It also encouraged them to write complex sentences so they could get more of their thought in there. So that was a side bonus I hadn't really anticipated, but it was great. So this was really fun and worked out really well. Also, I was just going to say, Aida, back on the holiday one, you said you were going to steal that. I think that's the one you were going to steal. You can also do that instead of as a presentation. You could have them just doing it in groups, put them in breakout rooms or in groups and create your own holiday, give them 15, 20 minutes and answer all the questions. It's another way to do it. Super fun. Okay, so here is getting student input. So this is what I was referring to before. This one's really important.
Hi again, everybody. We just said goodbye a moment ago. Here is your homework for Thursday. Please make me a 1 or 2 minute video telling me what you would like to do in this class. What are we missing? Or what is something you would like to try that we haven't tried yet? And the interns and I will try to come up with something. It could be activities. It could be, more discussions, please, or more listening, or more blah, 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 blah. Let me know. Also, if you have any topics that you would really like to discuss, let's bring them in, okay? Now, if you are not going to be in class on Thursday because you are celebrating Eid Mubarak, please add to your video, make your video a little bit longer and tell me about it. Tell me something about your Eid and your celebration. Share details. What were some highlights? Okay, highlights are the best parts. Like maybe, one highlight was I saw my best friend and I hugged her for the first time in a year. Or my village had a beautiful celebration. Normally we go to Riyadh, but this year we stayed in the village and I was with friends and family, or framily, that funny little word. Okay, you get the idea. So that's all, and that will be for Thursday. And if you're missing class on Thursday, don't worry, it's fine. It will not be late. You can do it on the weekend after Eid or before, either way.
Okay, so again, this is just another opportunity for them to be the experts, for them to tell me. So there were 2 parts. One is, the first thing is, what do they want more of? Yeah, family. We had talked about that. We had talked about that word in class, and so that's why I referred to it again. I said it was a new slang idiom that meant friends who are like family, or your chosen family, So it's kind of a slang expression here in the U.S. And but anyway, then this gave us so many cool ideas of things to plan for the rest of the term, because students had really great suggestions, and I'm going to show you a couple of them. And then the whole piece about Eid, because this is a huge holiday for a large number of my students in the class. And so, and several of them were going to be gone on the Thursday. And so I wanted them to talk to me about it. And the two examples that I gave about the hugging my best friend for the first time in a year and staying in my village, those were actual examples that somebody had already told me about from before. So it was from the previous year. So it was really sweet. So those were real examples.
Hi again, everybody.
No.
We just said goodbye.
Sorry, I have to work out the keys with that. Okay, so this is what I was asking them. What do you want more of? What's missing in this class? What are some topics you would like to discuss? And then any other student agency things. And so you can put in the chat now if you would like. I'm going to keep on moving on because we need to get to our breakout rooms in just a moment. But here is one more really fun, creative one. This one came from a student suggestion. I had done something like this before, but here's one from the students.
Hi, everybody. All right, here's your homework for Monday. We're going into our imaginations again. And some of you may have talked about this on Thursday in class. You have just invented or bought a time machine. And so you can travel to in the future or into the past, anywhere you want to go. Where are you going to go? And when are you going to go? What time period do you want to travel? Okay, so that's your idea. Make a 1 to 4 minute video, 5, whatever. It needs to be at least 1 minute long, especially if you're in level 3 and 4. 1 to 2 minutes is fine. If you're in levels 5, 6, or 7, make it a little bit longer. And tell me, give me lots of details. Tell me a good story that I can have fun listening to. Why do you want to go there? Where will you go? When will the time period be? Who do you want to meet there? What do you want to do? All right, so have fun with this and try to upload a picture to the file if you can. All right, I really look forward to listening to these.
All right, this assignment blew my mind because what they came up with. So several people who were really into history, like one of my students is a Chinese student, super into ancient Chinese history, and so he went back and he went back in time to meet a former empress who was kind of a warrior spirit, and he wanted to talk with her and interview her and talk about that. So it was everything from historical figures to cultural figures to celebrities to sports figures. And then there was a whole group of people who also talked about going back in time to meet their parents or their grandparents as young people, or how old they were when they were their age. And which I just, again, I'm just getting choked up thinking about it. This just was one of the greatest things I've ever done. And by the way, just, if your center doesn't do homework, for example, like I've taught in some programs that don't give homework, we do everything in class. So then just do this in class as an activity together, right? Where you can have them doing it together as a group project. And yes, I do start increasing the time. And thanks, I'm glad, Aida, that you mentioned that, because the other thing about the time was that so there were several of my students who were making 10-minute videos every time. And that gets to be a little tricky if you have a class of 60, but this was a relatively small group, so it was actually okay. But yeah, the creativity they really love it when we give them the opportunity to be creative. So let me see, I think this was just preparation for controversial topics. And I didn't have a video for this one. And so just super quickly, what this was because we were having a debate. We were preparing for a debate in class. So I asked them to find a sentence or find an opinion, a controversial statement anywhere in the newspaper, magazines, TV show, podcast, op-ed, news programs, whatever, and then turn it into a question and then make a video, whether they agree or disagree, giving reasons to support. So an easier example was children shouldn't have cell phones. So that's the statement. And then the question transforms to, should children be allowed to have cell phones before age 13? Why or why not? Please give reasons to support your answers. Okay. Then the more challenging one, for example, might be, getting the COVID, this was something we had talked about in class, though 100% of my students were in favor of getting the vaccine, and they couldn't believe that there were Americans who wouldn't. But they were saying getting the COVID vaccine is a public health issue, not a civil right. Should everyone be required to get the COVID-19 vaccination? Why or why not? Please explain your answer. So whenever I do things with opinions, for example, I stress to them that their opinion is right. There's no right or wrong answer. It's your opinion. And so there's no right or wrong answer. You just have to back it up with specific reasons. Okay, so this was something we did a whole lot in. There we go, Pablo. So that's Pablo's opinion. And it's true that there are many people. It's a very good discussion for, as long as you have a respectful atmosphere where people can really share their opinion in a safe space. And that's part of our job, is creating a safe space. So let's see. I'll just quickly do this one.
Hello again, everybody. Okay, I'm trying this a second time. The first one would not load up. It's been spinning and spinning and spinning for 20 minutes. So I just erased it and started again. And I'm sorry, sometimes Canvas does that to all of us. So here is your homework for tomorrow. I would like you to write 3 really good discussion questions that you will be able to use when we have our test on Thursday. And so these are different from the interview questions that we did today in class. Though that's more getting to know you and finding out about each other. But these should be about a topic that is something a little more serious maybe, or academic, or controversial like we've been doing. Just some practice for our discussion skills test. So things like, here are some sample questions. For example, should everybody eat breakfast? Is breakfast a very important meal, and why? In a democracy, should everybody be required to vote? Why or why not? And please explain your answer. Or, for example, is a democracy or a monarchy a better system of government? What do you think? Okay, so those kinds of things. It could be any number of different topics. Should tipping be required in restaurants or not? What's the best job that somebody might have? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, you get the idea. And then the other part 2 is later, next week probably, we're going to have some fun doing some restaurant role play. So please write down, just make a list. It doesn't have to be sentences, just a list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of maybe 15 or 20 restaurant terms that you know, or you want to check, or want to practice, or that you say, how do I say this? And the idea is going to be so that we can get practice ordering in an English-speaking restaurant. Okay, that's it, and that's for tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, so we don't need that again. So again, 2-part assignment, write 3 strong discussion questions, because in their discussion skills tests, they write all the questions. I do not write the questions for them. They write their own questions. And then we did the restaurant stuff, and then we did some role play stuff the next week, so this was just kind of preparing them for that. And that was another student suggestion. I think, okay, I'm not going to play the video for this one, but what this assignment is another 2-part assignment, discussion questions, because we were preparing. I was just having them write a lot of different discussion questions, so they would have quite a few to choose from during their test. And then feedback about their favorite thing in class. Now, I normally do this in my last week of the class, in week 10, but one of my interns decided, she was planning part of this day, and she decided to put it in for homework in week 9. And it actually worked out well, because then we got some really lovely feedback beforehand, so that we could use actually in the last week, and it worked out well. Let's see. Yeah, it would be great to have English-speaking restaurants to go to in your country. That would be awesome. So anyway, getting student feedback is really, really important. And it was very, very lovely. Okay, I'm going to play this last one here now. I think this is the last one, almost the last one. But then I want to go to breakout rooms. But this was a student suggestion. I am not on TikTok. I would never have known about this at all. So this is what this was. My student Harris was really funny. He did this, and it was so cool that I made it an assignment for everybody.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so here is your homework for Tuesday, not Monday, because we don't have class Monday. So on Tuesday, thank you, Harris, for this amazing tool. I did not know about this. If I'd known about it, we would have done it in class. So here's what you do. You're going to take the prompter challenge. So the words are going to go by very, very fast, and you are going to say them out loud like a newscaster, okay? You can look at Harris's example of it. He did an example of it for homework. But just do your best. You may try it a couple of times. Then the video is about 15 minutes long with lots of different people doing it. Just find a way to try it on your own. Maybe mute it so that you can just read and make a recording at the same time. Just try your best. You won't be able to do it all probably perfectly. A few of you might be able to, but most won't. I probably couldn't do it completely well. So just have a little bit of fun with it, and try doing it with different voices too, like different newscasters. All right. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Okay. So these were there. I would just super fast play you one quick.
Pass the prompter test. I'm gonna roll the prompter as I normally would during a show and see if you can keep up. Let's go. Ready, set, go.
Now to the latest COVID-19 stories. Governor Gavin Newsom says the California Department of Public Health had administered 7.3 million vaccines during his visit to a vaccine clinic in Los Angeles County today.
Okay, so you get the idea, right? And then I had two examples, a male one and a female example. Yeah, this is really, really fun. They had a blast with this. And they really, I was very impressed. They did a very, very good job.
You already know.
Okay, oh, here was what's in your future. Lee, I think we did this one in our class together, possibly. Oh, no, this was, well, this particular one was last fall. So what's in your future? That's another homework assignment. For the last day of class, I just have them do one last listening log and then telling me anything that they might want to say. And then I have homework for tomorrow. So this is what I always do on my absolute last day of class. And then I say, okay, it's time for your homework now. And they're like, wait, what? This is our last day of class. What do you mean homework for tomorrow? So this is what I want them to do, what I want them to take away. Keep talking, join a conversation group. Keep listening to anything, music, movies, TV shows, podcasts, YouTube videos, news stations, radio programs, and more. Once we can be face-to-face again, try eating lunch or spending time with people who speak a different language as often as possible so that you have to speak in English and start thinking in English more and get more practice. Create cross-cultural friend groups and activities and be the amazing people I know you are. I'm so proud of you. So now we won't have 15 minutes at all for, I'm sorry, this has gone a little longer than my test session did. I think if we just spend 5 minutes in groups brainstorming, what I'd like you to do is, here's the instructions, and then Mark will also have them for you, I think. With your group, just note any ideas that you want to try, discuss how you could adapt these for your own teaching context. And if you don't have a course website like Canvas or Moodle or anything else, brainstorm how you might be able to post and receive videos from your students. So with that, I will stop sharing, right, Mark? And
yes, no problem. So okay. I'm in the dark here because the power just went out in my house, but I'm on the backup battery. So anyway, so if I disappear for a moment, one of my colleagues is going to take over. All right.
Okay.
But anyway,
I was just imagining that today.
Well, we're going to open the breakout rooms. The instructions were just given by Laura, but you also have a link in the chat to see those same instructions. So we'll take about 5 minutes there, and then we'll come back for some final comments and whatever else Laura has for us.
Takeaways
So,
and questions. Yeah.
all right, let's open the rooms now.
Thank
There we
you.
are.
So we're answering the question. We're finishing answering a quick question about how do you speak to administrators who might not value some of the pedagogical choices that you're making. And so you, as teachers, I feel like we have to prepare really good arguments with good pedagogical reasons and then go in and present it. You're very welcome, Ilya. Go in and present it to them and convince them why it is pedagogically better to do that. So for the example I was giving is that I start every listening speaking class, and I mean every day, with 10 minutes of warm-up discussion on a particular topic. And I have a whole presentation about that too. There's great pedagogical reasons for doing it, and it accomplishes so much. And I take the pulse of my students all the time. I ask them, why is this, is this useful for you? Should we do this? Yes or no? Why or why not? And 100% of my students, 100% of the time so far, have answered, yes. We don't understand why more teachers aren't giving us a chance to talk. How am I supposed to learn how to speak if you don't give me a chance to speak? So it's really critically important. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't ask my students. So anyway, but now we're all back. Fantastic. You're very welcome for the answers. What other questions in the time that we have left? Oh, and also, I guess, hold on, I do have a screen. And I have a takeaway slide. Okay, so go ahead and use the chat. And please tell me either your question in the chat, or I don't know, Mark, can they unmute themselves, or are we only using chat for questions?
No, we can have them unmute themselves if they like as well.
Either way. And then also in the chat, put down what's something you're going to steal and use next week in your classes. What's something that really resonated with you and that you liked. So go ahead, and I'm ready for your takeaways, and I'm ready for your I was ready for your questions. Where'd the chat go? There it is. Okay. Time machine, great. I really had that one was just so fun and cool. Principal focus is more on, I'm having trouble reading it. Let's see. Where did that one go? Okay, TikTok time machine, great. Prompter challenge. The prompter challenge was really fun. There we go. Focus is more on lesson plans is difficult as you're creative and not so much structural. Yeah, but you can figure out how to put all that creativity into your lesson plan. You really can. Play around with, I don't know if you have to use a specific format, but you can, my lesson plans absolutely reflect my personal style of teaching. Creating their own holiday, super fun. Also fun in-class activity to do. In the past, does anybody have a question, by the way, too? I love that you are sharing what you're going to steal. Anybody have questions? I think we've been asking them. Creating new stories, holidays, awesome. Those are really, really fun. Yeah. Creating the holiday is something I've done both as homework and in class. Let's see. Oops. What else? What did I miss? YouTube to interact with students. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's so I just post mine on my videos on my Canvas site, but you might not have a site like that where you can post it. So then in that case, just upload them to YouTube as unlisted and then take the link, and then you can share the link with them and then they get it that way. It's pretty simple. How do you give them feedback? Oh, shoot. I don't know what happened to my slide. I thought I had a slide in here about grading and feedback. So, I did. So yes, while I'm doing it, I'm listening to them. And here's the important part I think I did not mention about the feedback is you don't want to talk about every single thing, every grammar mistake, everything at all. Choose from every 1 minute video, you're going to get plenty of language sample, and choose maybe the 3 or 4 most salient, most important things that you want them to learn. So maybe they're using the correct verb form, but not the right time markers. So you can point that out to them, or give them suggestions for vocabulary, or pose questions to them. And I also try to add like 1 sentence or so on that talks about just how they're learning, and also the content of what they've talked about. Sometimes I use a rubric. For this, I do not really, for these homework assignments, I don't, but I use rubrics for all the assessments that we do. Let's see, what did Stella say? My students like to talk about their weekend. Yeah, exactly. And what does the weekend do? So if it's Monday or after, when you talk about the past weekend, we're eliciting it, we're creating a natural communicative situation where they have to use past tense and past tense time markers, right? So it's perfect. Let's see, Flipgrid. I just learned Flipgrid this year. Oh, I can't wait to get better at it. It's an awesome tool. Yes, yes, yes. You should do a presentation about Flipgrid. Have you ever used videos to provide oral feedback? Oh, all the time. Thank you for asking that, Emilio. Yes, I often make them, in fact, at least once a week, I make them a video back. So, and I'll especially because I can deal with pronunciation stuff that way. So you're pronouncing this way, or you're pronouncing this, that way, and watch my mouth. Here's what you need to do. Your mouth should be in a smile for this vowel sound, or, whatever. Do they get points for their videos? Oh yeah, it's their homework points, and it's part of their final grade. Exactly. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Where are we at with time? Because your time seemed to be about 2 minutes off from mine. Are we done, or are we?
We still have a couple minutes if you'd like
cool.
to, if people have more comments. And just a reminder, you can open your microphone if you'd like, anybody, if you want to make a comment or ask a question to Laura directly.
Oh, create your own birthday party. Pablo, that's awesome. That's a really great idea. I'm totally stealing that. I love that. Good. Yes, so a couple people have asked about rubrics. I have different rubrics that either my department uses or that I have created for, I design them for different tasks. I use different tasks for different rubrics for different tasks. And I try to keep them simple so it's easier to use. And with the group projects, I do both individual feedback and group feedback. Okay, let's see what else. How do you use these techniques with low levels of speaking? So I just slow down a little more, and I encourage them to repeat it, play it over again, and then I might meet with them also. But I have never done this with like the absolute novice levels before, but I think I would be able to adapt it. You just want to choose your language really carefully and keep them really short, like probably much shorter than mine were. Let's see. Oh, how do you do this with if you have 100 students? Feedback. Yeah, that's a lot trickier. So I know these ideas are definitely designed for, classes of 20 or 25, not 100. You might not be able to give so much feedback, but what I might do is what I have done when I've had really large classes before, or what I've advised other teachers is I would say just take a few notes of some of the common things that are coming up in lots of different people's answers, and then make one video that you give to everybody that has, maybe 4 or 5 different points on it. And that's probably about, that might be the best you could do with that. Oh, 100 students divided into 6 classes. Yeah, that's okay. So that's better than 100 students in every class, which some of the Chinese teachers I've worked with, some of the African teachers I've worked with have anywhere from 100 to 300 students in their class. So obviously that's going to change what you can do and can't do. But I would say that group feedback is probably the way to go if you have 100 students. Or once in a while, give individual feedback, but not each time. So you make sure everybody gets some individual feedback once in the beginning of the class and once in the end of the class. That I might try that, something like that. And talk to your colleagues who are in the same situation and find out what they're doing. See if you can steal ideas from each other. Anybody else? Okay, Aida, thanks for all your great responses. It was wonderful to have you. Let's see, did I miss anybody? Oh, you're very welcome. Let's see. Well, good, cool. Okay, love them, great ideas. I'm so excited that you like these ideas. Again, I was a little nervous just because this is a brand new presentation I've never given before. So thank you for all your amazing and excellent input. And Mark is going to post this on the COP, and so just feel free. I didn't make a handout because my slides are kind of like handouts this time, so just use the slides as handouts, and that's fine. Let's see, what's my opinion of parents who help their kids in their speaking homework? Well, I think help is good, but ultimately maybe encourage the parents to find ways to scaffold that help, where they do lots of support in the beginning, but then step by step take steps back where they remove the scaffolding, right? So that the student eventually learns to speak on their own. That is an interesting issue with parents, I know. I think, Jose Luis, there are a zillion different rubrics. Just go online, you can find rubrics for everything. Find a couple that work for whatever task you're doing, and then adapt them to your specific needs, I think is probably the way to go. That's what I've tended to do. Let's see. Anything else? I love this idea of talking to the parents. Yeah, whenever we're working with parents, if you're teaching kids and you're working and you deal with the families and work with the families, try to help them understand what your pedagogical leanings and philosophies are, especially in terms of things like giving a lot of support in the beginning, but then taking it away very gently, step by step by step, or what Douglas Fisher and Nancy, I can't remember her last name, talk about in gradual release of responsibility. Let me write that out. That is a useful, very useful resource. GRR, gradual release of responsibility. Oops. Am I spelling this right? Sorry if I'm squinting. I just went to the eye doctor yesterday. I'm getting new computer glasses. So Douglas Fisher, I don't think he's the guy who invented it, but he and Nancy something or other they've really worked on this a lot. Oh, thank you, Katya. That's the other thing about the videos, is it allows me to speak directly to my students and just be me with them and help take away some of the fear. I find my students are highly motivated, almost all of them, and even ones that aren't motivated in other people's classes. So I think that as individuals, we can do a whole lot just by being open and really positive. And going back to the feedback thing really quickly, somebody said, we do give critique and suggestions and corrections, right? But we can say anything, even the harshest things, we can say and frame it in a really positive way that allows our students to open up and accept it. And so that's another whole presentation I have, is using positive language. So that's part of it. Yeah, you're welcome, everybody. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, I had a great time with you. Yeah, rubrics are really useful. Rubrics are great. And they're especially great if you have lots of students, because you can do, the numbers or the checks, check, and then, like 1 or 2 sentences for each section. So it doesn't take too long. All right.
I think this is a good time to formally say thank you very much, Laura. The people have been saying it in the chats for quite a while now, but we want to make this official. Thank you so much for donating your time this afternoon with us. As usual, it's been very interesting, very exciting, and we're really grateful with the amount of time that you've donated to us in our events over these last 2 years. So this is her fourth session in either as part of our PD Talk series or international conference. So thank you so much, Laura. And if you got your cameras on, everybody, give her a thumbs up, give her a nice wave, put a nice
Thank you
emoji in
all.
the chat.
Oh, you know what? I forgot this. This is a late night. I found this last night. I have not even watched it. I only watched the first few minutes. This is British, something from my university teamed up with the British Council, and they've got there's 2 women from the British Council who do this whole 30-minute thing. That's what this is about: teaching, speaking, listening. So teaching listening skills rather. So it's in here for you all. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.